Welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's inaugural Baby Unicorn Stocks. It's an exciting event. We're going to bring you 3 companies, ground floor opportunities, maybe even pre-ground floor. These are sort of everybody knows what a unicorn is, right? A unicorn is it's a company that goes to $1 billion valuation in the venture capital world. I think in the microcap world, we could define a unicorn as something that goes to really a $500 million valuation or even $1 billion. But a lot of the companies you're going to be meeting today are all under 50 million valuation. So it's really a 10x from here if they become a unicorn. And again, we've brought you so far in the last 12 months, 8 stocks that are up already 10x, between 10x and 50x. And today we're going to get some really early ground floor opportunities to see if these could be potentially our next, our next super stocks or what have you. The main part of this event is watch the presentations, ask your questions, ask the CEOs your questions, and let us know. There's going to be a poll, there's going to be a survey afterwards. Give us your opinion. Let us know. It's confidential. Let us know what you think. Are these potential unicorns or are these dogs? Confidential, so you tell us, and we'll share the results later. So with that said, let's meet our first baby unicorn. Let's see if we can get the presenter on. Anthony, let me get your screen share. There we go. Okay. Anthony Durkach from Pineapple Express, world-class extractions. The stock symbol is PUMP on the. I love that symbol, and WCEXF over the counter. Anthony, welcome.
Thank you, Jack, for having me.
Anthony, so listen, you're basically going to have to impress. Going to be voting in a couple of minutes to decide: are you a unicorn or a dog? Which one, or somewhere in that spectrum, right? So we're gonna get the story and really find out, what makes this a a potential 10 bagger or 100 bagger. So what I want to do is let's get your presentation up on the screen. You're going to roll, and I'll come back for the Q&A.
Excellent. So can you see my screen?
I see your screen, so I'm going to disappear. Take it away.
Excellent. Great. So thank you everyone for joining and giving us the opportunity to present to you what I think now is a very exciting opportunity. To me, selling cannabis is easy. Selling cannabis legally is a little bit harder, but delivering cannabis legally is much, much harder. And so that's where I see an incredible opportunity, considering that we're seeing here in Canada, we saw the legalization that happened on a federal, provincial, state, and municipal level. And we're starting to see that come back into the United States with the latest bill by the senators. It's not exactly where you want it to be, but it is, to me, I think, the start of what's going to happen. And with legalization, in my experience of cannabis, there tends to be tremendous financial and business opportunities. And this is the one right now that I'm extremely excited about. So World Class Extractions is a company that I co-founded, and while we were in the business of extracting, we ended up coming across an opportunity that I see as being something that within the cannabis industry has a tremendous amount of potential, and that's the actual delivery. So if we go to our forward-looking statements, of course, to give a little background about myself, I've been involved in many microcap deals, probably almost 200 of them over the past 10 years. I own an investment bank called First Republic Capital in Toronto, Canada. And in my past, on the microcap side of investing, one of my biggest successes was a company called Patient Home Monitoring. The ticker symbol was PHM, that traded in Canada. And it was a healthcare roll-up strategy. So what you had is you had a number of different companies within the US healthcare industry that were run by smaller companies, or what we refer to as mom and pop companies. And so PHM saw an opportunity to roll them up utilizing the public stock as the currency. And when we got involved in the beginning of 2014, we ended up financing the company at 6 cents a share. And in about 18 months, it went to, I think, almost $2 high. And it was one of the most actively traded microcap stocks in the country at that time. When we went to cannabis, the first company that we were fairly successful with was Tinley Beverages. We helped finance it at 5 cents, and then 10 cents, and then 17.5 cents. And it ended up running into a high when the Canadian legalization was coming to fruition of just almost $2 as well. And then from the technology aspect, in 2017, we did a deal called Drone Delivery, which was technology. The first financing was at 3.5 cents. The second financing was at 14 cents. It went to a high of $2.40. And the reason why I give you that background is because in Pineapple Express, this is what I see. I see a roll-up strategy, hopefully, that we can deliver on. I see the cannabis side of the company, and we see the technology. The technology, to me, being actually the most interesting and exciting aspect of the company. CanDeliv is our technology platform. It was created by us. It's our proprietary information. And what we want to see happen with it is to be able to license it to different users and sellers of cannabis in legal markets across the world. Today, we've only entered Canada. We are perhaps the biggest. Canada Post might be bigger than us, but as a non-government entity, we are one of the biggest. I think as of the 9 months, in our last financial statements, we had over $7 million of revenue with operating margins of about 29%. What I also really like about Pineapple is its founder and CEO, Randy Rolfe. He's dynamic, he's an excellent operator, he's obsessive in a lot of ways. And he was behind the same day delivery and food, which he then transitioned into cannabis. But with cannabis and legal cannabis, it's not as simple as just delivering a newspaper or delivering a cup of tea or a Big Mac. It's a lot different. So there's a lot of logistics support, legal quality assurance standards and security that have to be adhered to. And that's something now that we have a lot of experience in. We have a great executive team running Pineapple right now. And, we see our advantage as being, cannabis centric, but with the opportunity to go and do other types of deliveries, whether it's also including alcohol, for example. A lot of people that tend to consume cannabis do sometimes consume alcohol as well. So it's something that I think we can help provide. And when we look at the competition landscape, what really also makes me excited in this company is today we're trading at about 2 or 2.5 cents a share. That gives us a market cap of about $12 to $15 million. We're on a revenue run rate that will match that over the coming 12 months and hopefully exceed it as we begin to expand into other areas and also begin to expand the licensing of our proprietary technology. And we've seen a tremendous amount of interest coming out of the United States in companies like DoorDash that went public, or Easy, or OnFleet, or GoPuff. And so when you look at how we compare against them in this presentation, it gives you some information about the competitive advantages that we believe we currently have today. I think delivery is something that's here to stay. I think that we saw in what happened during COVID is that people have learned that it's a lot easier to deliver than to have to go shopping. In a lot of ways, it makes life a lot simpler. Especially at not realizing how lazy a lot of people are, including myself. Once I found out I could get delivered food and clothing, I started to use that myself. And I think in terms of cannabis, especially in legal cannabis, I think you have to, as a sales channel, you have to offer same day or latest next day delivery. I think that's going to be a very major component of the adoption of legalized cannabis, just like we see in all other industries today. And so, this is something that we're specialists in. Our our technology is the one aspect of it. The second aspect is the logistics and the infrastructure that Pineapple has built. So, we do have our own fleet. We do have our own drivers app and technology. We do have our own warehouses and packing facilities. And we are able to offer flat fees due to our scale and size, which is important to grow the business. This is a little too big of a slide, so I'm going to move it. We do specialize currently in Canada, both in recreational and federal medical sales of cannabis. But no matter what, in any respect, we only follow into the areas of legalized industry. So we will not touch anything black market. We're still not ready to touch anything that wouldn't be federally legal, but I think we're prepared to begin to infiltrate. And part of being able to license our technology is that we can license our technology to anybody. So I think that offers us a tremendous potential in terms of the growth of our business. We have a lot of different capital spending plans that we want to execute in terms of where we're looking at going and growing, and also taking a look at a number of different opportunities that lately have presented themselves. Where we currently are, we're in British Columbia, which we just announced this morning. We are in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Ontario, Canada. But really, where we see the bigger picture is going to be in the United States with legalization that we believe is forthcoming. I think with state-wise, there are some targets that we are now currently looking at, which is in the presentation. And if federally things move forward, I think that we're going to see a lot more action and excitement within the industry, with the ability for banks and investment banks and the broader institutional investors being allowed to actually finally invest in the industry. We are going to be, to start, North America focused, but I don't think that'll stop us from moving forward, to exploring the world. The great thing about technology is that, we can implement it anywhere in the world. Our Canadian growth plan, and we do have some targeted growth here, but we can see over the next 3 years with a realistic target of being able to hit at least 20 to 30 million in sales at the slowest pace, or our bottom estimate. Our U.S. growth plan would catapult us because America does have an 11 times the size market as Canada, so that is going to be something that we are currently engaged in looking into entering very soon. Our cap structure, as you see, is the same with the 2 cent to 2.5 cent a share. We have a market value of between 12 and 15 million Canadian dollars. And just to show you some of the partners that we already have, and that's growing pretty much every week. You get some pretty big names like Shopify, Dutchie, and Namaste. Some of our partners here in Canada are Canopy, Tokyo Smoke, Delta 9. In Ontario, we're partners and we deliver for Meds, for Hashco, Cantrust, Canopy Growth, and Shoppers Drug Mart, which is the biggest pharmacy chain in the country. And then here are some of our other B2B partners, and here's our contact information. And I'd like to thank everybody for listening to this presentation. One other thing I want to bring up, because sometimes people do ask, I'm the chairman and I am the largest shareholder of the company currently. And when people say, well, what did you buy in for? So I actually bought my position in the company from the co-founder, Dr. Cullen, back in 2018. That I put in of my own money, $1,459,510 US. So if anyone ever asks, or I have seen where people say, I was baked into the company for free, that's actually not true.
Okay, Anthony?
Yes.
Hang on a second, let me just see if I can, okay, there we go, back on the screen. Okay, so, are you ready for some Q&A?
Send it over.
Okay, let me get we got a bunch of questions coming in. So far, just so you know, we have we just did a poll saying, is this does this potentially a unicorn? And we have with 78% of the votes are in. 57% say yes, 57, 42% say no. So,
Okay.
the question is, we're gonna say, you got, I guess the question is, you have to convince the other, 42% of
Absolutely.
So let me ask you a question. So you've had a very successful background. You've mentioned a couple of these massive wins, which have been 50 baggers plus. And it's interesting because you're actually you've been kind of a visionary. You started with drones. I think that was the first public drone company, right? About 4 years ago.
In Canada, yes.
Canada, yeah. I mean, nobody was really talking about drones. Now there's a bunch of these things now. So it's like. So that was early, the cannabis thing. You were early in the cannabis, the health
Yes.
roll-ups.
Well, and we did take huge, from. So I was there in the beginning when it was at zero, and it actually hit a peak of 1.4 billion market cap. So it actually did hit the real unicorn status.
Okay. Oh, you know what? I just realized something. We had. Okay. By the way, I just realized I had that. Oh, we had that poll. We had the poll on the screen too long, so I apologize. We haven't done a poll like this. Apparently, it covered everything up. So I
Okay.
screwed. I apologize. So all right. So let me. Okay. So basically, so what attracted you to to this opportunity? What does this have in common with some of the big winners we've had? Like what do you see here with Pump that's really a big deal?
Sure. Yeah. So right now, from a valuation perspective, and that's what I like, is valuation. I think trading at 1x revenue here over the next 12 months at a minimum is to me typically a very good starting point. Considering I also bought in, at approximately 3x, the current valuation, and put up almost 2 million Canadian of my own money. I thought it was good value then. Now I see it as better value now. But we have this tremendous opportunity. So when I go back to like my experiences and direct involvement in certain deals, patient monitoring being a roll-up strategy, I see all the similarities here in Pineapple. So a lot of the delivery services currently in Canada, or if you look at whatever's happening even in the United States right now, a lot of these are mom and pop smaller companies. And so, the ability to be able to acquire them for shares in the company and to literally make sure that these acquisitions are accretive to your income statement, which, allows you to very, very quickly grow your income statement, right? Being accretive, both from a revenue perspective and looking at how you can save on costs as you continue to enhance. And so we saw that with PHM, and we were able to do that. And I think, if we can deliver on the financial statements and show people that, we can have this sustainable, fast growth pace through acquisition, that's where I see that similarity to PHM. Where I see similarity in the cannabis industry, and when I give Tinley as the example, is, with federal legalization looming in the United States, we saw probably the most spectacular, bull market run happen in the industry in Canada. And so, I do believe that something like that is going to happen again in the US if federal legalization countdown actually begins to happen. And from a technology standpoint, the beauty of having your own proprietary technology for, a industry that's going to expand dramatically with legalization, and which is legal delivery of cannabis, there's a tremendous amount of revenue generating opportunities, of revenue generating acquisition opportunities, and the fact that we can license. So with the licensing model, we have the potential to continue to license consistently and generate, the most revenue for the least amount of cost. Okay. Royalty businesses to me are the best businesses there are.
Okay, yeah, because again, yeah, it's like I call it like zero gravity. You have no you're not dealing with all the physical stuff, with all the stuff that kind of drags you down. No, so it's a very
So
very.
this is, and yeah, so what we're focused
You
on,
only
and when you talk, yeah, when you talk about, the
one times
potential,
revenue, right?
we're here to build a business. You look at our income statement today, we're generating $7 million, over 7 million in 9 months, right? That'll be again much higher when we deliver on the 12 months. Quarter over quarter, we intend on delivering consistently. So when you have that type of business revenue growth, and you're in, two exciting industries, technology being one of them, and legalization of cannabis being the other in America, that's where I think there's going to be a tremendous amount of potential.
Okay, so it's interesting. So you're really trading at one times revenue right now.
Yes, correct.
So this, I mean, it's almost like a value stock. 1x
Yeah.
revenues. Basically it's a technology-powered delivery company. What are these other delivery companies trading? What kind of multiples are they trading at? Like, I mean,
Oh, those multiples, yeah, there's a really wide range. So, we see, revenue multiple ranges that start at, 2.5 times and go up to 50 times, right? It's a really phenomenal. But I think where the logistic companies lately have been seeing the greatest amount of upside in terms of valuation are the ones that have technology components to them, where you
yeah.
can license out or have a royalty stream that comes out of that. And again, licensing royalties are the best business, in my opinion.
Okay. So basically, so in other words, if you get to, I mean, if you get to, you're basically what it's like a 10 million market cap right now, somewhere in that
About
range.
US, yes, yeah, US.
Yeah. So if you get to, I mean, let's say you get to, 20 million revenues, which should not be too difficult based on the run rate, even at 5x multiple, it would be like be basically a 10 bagger from here.
So that's what I see as value, right? I can't really comment much on pricing being the chairman of the corporation, but to me, I do look for value. I look for undervalued plays in the microcap market, and again, with a technology angle where you can license very, very high margin business, and with the ability with our the public company to use it as currency to acquire other existing profitable revenue generating businesses, I think that's the key. I mean, even currently from our last set of financial statements, our operating margin was about 29%. So, there's room to grow here. I think, again, we saw phenomenal success with PHM, being in the healthcare industry. I think this is one of these opportunities, especially with legalization, federal legalization looming in the United States.
Anthony, let's get to some audience questions. We got 5 minutes left.
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
we'll run real quick. We got Bo asking, is this an Uber Eats for weed?
Yes.
Let's see here. We got a question. Dino's asking, how come the CEO is not on here? Why is it you?
Because the CEO is a great operator, but not a capital markets, not experienced in the capital markets. So we thought it would be better that I would talk about the investment side of things of the company. He's an amazing operator, and being the chairman of the company, I don't operate these companies. We have to guide them and provide guidance and assist only where management requires our assistance. And so this is one of those cases. So Randy is a dynamic, awesome, excellent, obsessive operator, and that's who we need to be driving these businesses. He came from the food delivery, same day delivery industry, and that's where he got his foundation. It came from Just Eats in Canada, which at one time actually was the biggest food delivery company in the country. So that's the reason why I'm here and he's not. But hopefully over time, if I can teach him enough about the capital markets side of things, we'll have him speaking as opposed to me.
I actually think, in my opinion, I think it's good to have like a chairman of the company on who really talks about just the stock. The CEO basically operates the business. He just grows the business, focus.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a full-time job dealing with analysts, investors. I mean, it's It is a full-time job.
It is, and you know, Jack, like I said, I mean, I have almost $2 million Canadian of my own cash as an investment in the company, so I'm here to see it through, right? Through good and bad. You're going to have tough markets and good markets, but at the end of the day, you know, building a real business, you know, showing quarter over quarter growth, to me is what makes this most interesting.
Okay, let's get cut to a couple more questions. Robert is asking, seems as if you have a lot of shares issued. How much more dilution do you see from making all these acquisitions?
So that's a great question. So the answer is it's really dependent on who we acquire, right? So, you know, depending on what we can negotiate during acquisitions, you know, what we tend to look for as a public company with the public markets experience and being able to use the stock as a currency to buy companies, then we look at, you know, negotiating with smaller companies, people that are typically sometimes not as market savvy, so that we can buy, you know, the company at a certain percentage to revenue, and then with the growth on the income statement side from these acquisitions, expect to see a better reaction, or almost like a spread reaction to the stock side of.
Okay, Matt, we're gonna wrap up very quickly. So I'm gonna just jump to a couple of questions here. The main question, which we're gonna ask now, is what is your path to that unicorn, you know, status? What do you need? And again, for microcap, I would say 500 million market cap is really the number. So what is it going to take for, you know, Pineapple Express, for Pump to get to basically that would be a 50x from here, roughly.
Sure. Yes.
What's the path? How long would it take?
So in this case, we're talking about revenue growth. And you know, you have your organic revenue growth, which we incur now, and you know, as we're expanding out to BC, we see a lot of revenue growth there, but also really the revenue growth that'll come out of the US. So between acquiring other businesses in the same industry that are operating already throughout either Canada and the United States, you know, that's going to be one way where we'll see the income statement and the revenue start to accrete. So we buy a company today that's doing $5 million in revenue. When we buy the company, hopefully with, you know, some less than, say, $5 million of stock, and then that accretes, you know, then you're going to add our revenue with their revenue on our income statement. So we'll go from, you know, 10 million in revenue to 15 million in revenue in that next quarter, in terms of what it'll show as annualized growth.
Okay, somebody's asking, okay, so just because the stock symbol is not on the screen, the stock symbol is in Canada, is PUMP, P-U-M-P on the CSE. On the over-the-counter, it's WCEXF, WCEXF. You got to make that simpler. Okay, Anthony, next question, last question. What kind of news flow can investors expect to see from the company in the next, 60 days?
So a tremendous amount of news. We've been working. We've got to a point where, you know, we have a really good revenue base from here, and we've proven that we can build the business and grow the business, and so now we are really ready to grow. So you can expect to see a number of deal making news releases in the future, as well as accretive acquisition news releases coming down the pipeline. I can't give you like a window where it's 10 days or 60 days, because I'm not allowed to, but you know, the vision is that this will be something that will actually be continuous.
Okay, important question. Jeff is asking, is the company moving away from the extraction side of the business?
Yeah, so currently we're looking at, you know, what to do with the extraction side of the business. So it's on the table for the board, you know, to decide what the best path is with the extraction side.
Okay, so it's purely going to be a technology-enabled cannabis delivery business.
Personally, you know, I can't speak for the entire board yet, but you know, personally, you know, I like technology and I like revenue growth, and those, you know, that's the foundation to building real businesses. And I think with you know, the potential federal legalization coming in the United States, you know, if we see another bull market run in the sector, you know, if we're positioned properly, you know, delivery is an amazing business that can take advantage in a unique way of a bull market trend in cannabis.
Okay, Anthony, I'm going to ask one last question, only because, I screwed up that having that slide up on, the poll. Okay,
Sure.
in your opinion, what would be the top 3 reasons why, investors should consider world-class extractions pump, CSE pump,
Sure.
today?
So I would say, look at the valuation and comparables to other companies in the industry as being one. Number 2, that we do have a tremendous amount of deal flow for acquisitions that luckily comes through my investment bank. So having access to those channels are directly in house. And 3, the implementation now where we have a ready technology that's ready to be licensed to any cannabis store or any cannabis wholesaler or any government where it's legal. I think has a tremendous amount of potential with very high margin revenue potential.
Okay, actually, I'm just going to send it. Okay, so we're getting things out. Okay, so again, the symbol in Canada is pump, PUMP. In the US, WCEXF. Anthony, thank you for joining, for telling the story, and we're gonna follow up hopefully soon.
Thank you so much, Jack, for having me, and thank you everybody for giving me your time to watch this presentation.